welcome to episode 4, Aeronautica Imperialis. This week we're going to be talking about Aeronautica, all things Aeronautica in fact, the collection that we have as a studio, and also the interests and the main focuses of each of us. Now, we started Aeronautica when the first set came out, which was, I believe, Orcs versus Imperial Navy. That's how far back it goes. And we all had sort of interest in it. You know, it's tiny planes. Why would you not? You know, they first off, well, for Croydon, they had the attitude of they look cute, let's get some. But to Minion and I, it was more a case of, you know, we'd heard of Aeronautica from back in the day. We never got to play it. And it was something that, you know, we wanted to try out. And obviously the new edition and the new box set and the plastic miniatures just made it, you know, perfect reasons to get it, basically. We started obviously with Orcs versus Imperial Navy, and it was actually one of the first things that Minion ever beat me to finish painting, because I chose like a light blue colour scheme, which was like the Fang and like, you know, a Space Wolfy kind of blue, baby blue kind of colour, just because I thought, you know, Imperial Navy, they'd want to blend in with the sky. Yeah, let's do it that colour. And yeah, I never got around to finishing it because it was just such a tedious way of painting the army that I'd chosen. And at the same time, I wasn't really like super fussed about doing the Imperial Navy. I was interested in doing the Orcs. They looked a lot of fun. But Minion, you know, said he wanted to do Orcs, and he actually bought the paints then and there. He bought the yellow paints for doing his yellow, which was, you know, brilliant. So I sort of, you know, let that happen, and yeah, I decided to do the Imperial Navy, but we never actually got to play with it. It wasn't until Space Marines actually came along for the system that we didn't actually really touch it much. The Eldar also came along very shortly after, and that was something that I knew Minion was, that Croydon was interested in. So I, you know, spoke with her and asked if she was interested in doing the Eldar, to which she was, you know, keen on just painting them up. I think at the time it was then a starter set between Eldar and Marines, so that sort of met that perfectly, that, you know, we were both going to have a full army from it, which was, you know, great. So she did Eldar, I did Space Marines. I did them obviously the Dark Angels to go alongside the Solar Legion, so it was like tiny planes. And Minion was doing Orcs, but then he sort of talked himself into doing Tau, so he sort of focused on his Tau a little bit, which was great. You know, he got a couple of the Tiger Sharks. He somehow thinks that that's the best flyer in 40k. You can't see me because this is a podcast, not a video, and I'm rubbing my eyes right now because it was one of those ones like, is he serious? He thinks that the Tiger Sharks are the best flyers in this game. Has he forgotten about, you know, the Manta or the Stormbird or the Thunderhawk, or, you know, like, yeah, it just, okay, sure. If that's what Minion thinks, then, you know, I can't argue with him, and I mean that, I literally can't argue with him, you know. So basically we chose those armies, and I sort of painted mine up. Croydon painted hers up, and Minion sort of decided he wanted to maybe look at something else because he wasn't really that fussed. And it was genuinely quite quickly after he'd sort of expressed a distaste for doing the Tau that Forge World announced they were doing the Necron flyers, which he had my Necron army off of me, the huge sort of battle host size army that I collected, and he basically, perfect timing, said he wanted to do the Necrons. Now, because I'd painted a couple of the Necrons for him, I sold them to him on the pretense that some of them would be painted for him, so that he'd got like a starting force. And I basically said to him, I'll just get the planes for the Necrons. You just make sure that, you know, you scrub up on the rules and we know how to play it, so we can play it. So I got some of the Necron flyers just for the collection, you know, for the studio, and he sort of scrubbed up on the rules, and he mainly taught me how to play it. All the while, obviously, I still had the Space Marines, so we played Space Marines versus Eldar versus Necrons. We had all these different sort of combinations. And then very recently, they decided they wanted to release the best flyer in any 30k or 40k army, the Ares gunship. Now, I wish they'd done the Orion as well. Just do both. Why not? It's pretty much the same casting, I guess. It's just a back compartment. I've got 2 Ares and 2 Orions in 28mm scale, so I know what size they look like and how they look like together. I just wish they'd done them so that they were both released at the same time. Hey ho, I'm not complaining. I'm just an observation. So I got 2 Ares. Now I've still not actually had a chance to play with them. At the time that this is published, I will have, because Minion and I are seeing each other early October, so we will have had a game. So I'm hoping that they, I've got my fingers crossed right now. I'm hoping that they serve me well, for his will alone. I'm very excited to get a game in with those. I did get some of the Arvus lighters as well. That was something that I was quite keen on, because I'd got an Arvus lighter already for my Dark Angels, so I wanted to get 2 little Arvus lighters for my Dark Angels, but for Aeronautica, sorry, just because it makes it just more of a complete round force. I got the Thunderbolt fighters and the Thunderbolt fighters, the Xiphon interceptors, because I do have a Xiphon for my Aeronautica army already, a Xiphon for my Dark Angels army. That's what a lack of sleep and no coffee does to you, I guess. But obviously the Thunderhawk was the main attraction. I have 4 of the Thunderhawk for my Aeronautica army, because a plastic Thunderhawk. I know we've been asking for that as a community from Games Workshop for a very, very long time. It's about time we got one. We've got a plastic Thunderhawk, so I had to have some of those. And I splashed out a little bit just purely to get a collection of pretty much nearly every army. I got the Org Warg Mega Bomber, just the big flyer from Forge World, which I was actually quite surprised at just how big this model is. It is like you're talking nearly sort of 5.5 inches wide from wingspan. It's massive. So and then while we were playing games, I was talking with Croydon, and she basically expressed to me that she was actually quite interested in trying something else. So I bought her some of the Tau Tiger Sharks, because I spoke with Minion and said, look, do you mind if Croydon does the Tau just to explore into it? And as of yet, she's not actually had a chance to open them and get them painted up yet, but it is something that we've got planned down the line for her to do Tau, and maybe even to base it on the colour scheme of the Studio Manta. Just so that it was painted up to the same sort of the same colour, the same style, just to bring that through. And if ever they did a Manta for Aeronautica, again, you can't see me, but my fingers and toes are crossed right now, because I would love a Manta for Aeronautica. It would just be awesome to have the Manta SCOA 133. That's what we called it, for Smorgonite, Croydon, and then our initials, and 133 is the number of the Manta. If they did a Tau Manta for Aeronautica, I would be a happy chappy. That's for certain. And it's not that much bigger than a Mega Bomber, or if any, it probably is about the same sort of size. Please do one. Other things that I got, I got the Vampire Raider and the Vampire Hunter. We were actually at Warhammer World when there was an event on, and we actually were allowed them early. We just went down. It wasn't a closed door event. It was just there was an event on that there was basically the Vampire Hunter and the Vampire Raider available. So I thought, you know what, I'll just get a couple now, and a couple turned into 4 or 5, and then I've ended up with 6 in total, because Croydon bought me one as a gift. Another great gift. She keeps knocking it out of the park. It was just, I loved the Vampire Hunter. I've got one of the Vampire Hunter in 28mm scale. I'm fortunate enough to own one, and it's a beautiful model, a beautiful flyer. So it would have done it a disservice if I hadn't got one for Aeronautica. So apart from the Imperial Navy, because I did get rid of those just purely for, my own sanity, because getting those painted up was really, going to be a troublesome thing in my own head to be able to actually get them painted up in that baby blue style. We pretty much have every army, I'm sort of trying to think off the top of my head what armies there are. We've got the Orc, we've got the Space Marines, we've got Eldar, we've got some Tau. Well, the Tau, as I say, it's not built or painted yet, unfortunately. But in fact, actually, I'm going to go and find Croydon today, and I'm going to ask her about the Aeronautica Tau stuff and whether or not she's actually got plans for it in the future. If not, I might look at getting it built just for the studio, and put it as part of the studio armies again, just so that there's access to it. We did also order the Horus Heresy rulebook and the Horus Heresy board, the Vanaheim board. As of yet, they haven't been delivered yet. I know that there was some delivery problems, I think, with the book, so that's something that's still on order from Games Workshop. But we're looking forward to getting that played soon, because obviously we want to play for different legions and stuff, and it might be a case that Croydon uses the opportunity to paint her Alpha Legion vehicles the same way that she paint these, just so she can learn the process of having to paint vehicles and flat panels with a contrast paint. That's something that I know for a fact she's been a little bit nervous about painting with her Alpha Legion. That's why sort of the Horus Heresy starter set, the Spartan, didn't get painted and stuff, because she was sort of quite nervous about painting all those large armor panels with the contrast paint. And rightly so, when you're a new beginner in the painting scene, you might be a little bit cautious and a little bit hesitant to use something new. But again, it's just that practicing kind of thing. She just needs to try it out. We're not gonna hold her to ransom if she doesn't like it and say, well, you've chosen that, you have to do it. We're the community that we have is quite a nice sort of open community. Hell, it's got Minion in it, and I don't think Minion's ever fully decided on a paint scheme that he likes, that he wants to do himself. So we definitely sort of do our own little thing as a trio, which I've got no problem with at all, and I know neither of the other two do, because we only really ever get a chance to play against each other, and it's something that we're happy with the situation that we've got. One thing that we might look at doing though in the future is actually getting the Imperial Navy back, just so that we've completed every army pretty much. One thing I do want to do is I want to get more Ares. I know that I've only got 2 Ares in 28mm scale, and I only wanted basically 2 Ares in Aeronautica, but they're such a beautiful model, I really enjoyed building and painting them, and making them match my other Ares, so much so that I've actually got a listing on our eBay account for a commission painting of that, and that's something that I've had quite a few people reach out and ask some questions about it, and see what my availability is. So if you are interested in getting anything commission painted, here's a shameless plug for the commission side of stuff. If you ever want to get in touch with us, just drop us a message on our website. The link for that will be in our description of this podcast. But yeah, if you ever consider wanting an army painted, a model painted, anything painted, just drop us a message and we'll sort something out. Okay. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. We've got some of the terrain for Aeronautica. We've used it as markers for our I won't give too much away because that is coming in a future video, but we've put together a campaign that I've written with using the old planetary empire tiles. So we've used some of those on those tiles. We've glued them and put them up on the wall in the studio, and there is a photograph on the Instagram account, probably a while ago now actually, way back when photograph kind of thing, that explains the plan for the campaign and stuff. So yeah, by all means check that out, check it out and see if there's any interesting Aeronautica posts that are coming. I know there's going to be a couple soon, so watch this space. But yeah, that's pretty much it for our Aeronautica. A bit short and sweet, that one. So yeah, I'll leave it there. I hope you have a great evening, morning, afternoon, night, whatever time of day you're listening to this. I hope you have a good one, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Bye bye.